February 2018. I was an electrical engineering student here in Makerere. And I remember making a choice to become the speaker of Makerere Engineering Society. I remember asking my friends, what do you guys think? Do you think I'll win? And they told me, of course, Saxon, you'll win. Everyone knows you. You see, I spent 2 of my past years deeply involved in what we call Makerere Engineering Society, which we used to call MESS. And so I picked up the nomination forms and decided to contest for speaker. Now I want you to know that I never ever thought in my entire life that I would lose. In fact, I had 0 plans for losing. On the 14th day, which turned out to be the fateful day, I lost by 9 votes. You see, failure is a funny thing. All my life before, I had not exactly failed in anything serious. I had always found my patterns are with things, and somehow I'd found a way to win. This time round, I had failed. I remember sitting in my hostel room. I remember it like it was yesterday. Filled with anger, filled with betrayal. You can even call it depression. You know, people don't talk about post-political grief or depression. But it's actually a big thing because you have nothing to show for the resources spent, for the time spent at being back on books. The next 2 weeks after that will be what I call a turning point in my life. You see, like I told you, failure, when it is new, it brings new fears or anxieties into your mind. I remember looking at the statistics, employment statistics at the time, and thinking, we're creating half the jobs for this number of graduates. What if I am one of those people who actually won't get the job? Since I've already failed yet. My mind said, moving around, crazy. Think about everything else that I would easily fail in, even finishing the course. I remember, I started thinking to myself, I had to find a way to make money very fast before I left campus. I remember sitting and thinking, what is the one resource? What is the one thing that university students consume every day and are ready to pay for it and can pay for it every day? And those were cakes. Everyone who was in lab was buying their lab by cake. So I came up with an idea, and that is how Criteria Cakes, a brand that is still standing now, started. I did not know how to bake, but I found a team that was really good at it. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the then president who I won, and he told me, you know, I had a very good manifesto, I must say, and I was ready to work for the people. So he called me and told me, Saxon, we looked at your manifesto, you're a great guy. I think you'll do well. We have an unelective post for you. And I remember thinking, why is it me who lost? You want to put me somewhere where we helped Saxon a bit to come closer and do some leadership. And I remember telling him to give me some time to think about it. To be honest with you guys, I was not interested. In fact, I felt like declining and saying, you know what, it's okay, you guys can go forward and change. But I remember when I talked to him and he told me about what things I wanted to implement in what I had mentioned. I remember thinking to myself, if there's someone who was going to make the change for all these students to access them to the employment market, it was going to be me. And there's someone who had designed these systems to work, the best person to make them work would be me. I was the one. So in fact, reluctantly, I took up this position. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I spent the next 2 subsequent years in MESS, Makerere University Society, trying to make the lives of engineering students better. We organized multiple engagement with stakeholders in the employment world. We used to organize open days where people would showcase their innovations. And I was doing all this with the mind that if I could bring something that I could leave behind and say, yes, we did not choose Saxon, but we were able to make this difference. I thought I was doing it for others. But in fact, I was indirectly doing it for myself. You see, one of those trips that we organized through PAU to the Kingfisher project, we're trying to organize for the petroleum students, all the students interested in the petroleum sector, how we could let them see what was happening in the project there. By then the oil and gas sector was still brand new in the country. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, I found this role that I'm doing now where I drill wells, and put on cameras halfway out of my life. That is how I fell in love with oil and gas. It was the first day when I went into the Kingfisher that I realized that I could actually be in this industry and be at the top of it. Post-COVID, you know, I'm a COVID graduate. In fact, I was making a joke with someone that I'm applying on naming my first child Pfizer in remembrance of our past short we got. The fears that I had actually came to pass because, in fact, the statistics were not only going in the negative, but people were being laid off. Some people were being laid off, others were working from home, pay was being cut. And I remember one of the colleagues of mine who had studied Makerere with as well. We came together and said, we can find a solution from the work we do that can give hope to other people elsewhere, but can also give us some money. So that is how we started a company called Tangaaza Energy, where we were providing solar solutions for domestic users in remote areas. And once there, today it has grown into a commercial and industrial solar utility company that is now here in Abu Dhabi and here in Uganda. I have good news for you. There's someone who is coming to save you from your dark spot. And that person is you. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine all of us young Africans had the mentality that, in fact, if there are any problems here in Africa, we could actually solve them or come out of them or work out of them. Imagine we had the same mentality that if anything was not going right now, we could actually leave whatever it was, regardless of leadership, and solve it. Imagine we had the same resilience, because the truth is, no one else is going to determine your destiny, only you. And the same thing applies to us in Africa. Our change will not be determined in foreign boardrooms. It will be determined by us here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude today, Kucheria Cakes still stands today. And I want to share with you a cake tonight as proof that when you decide to take your own path, sweet things can come out of it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saxon Ssekitooleko. Please allow me to bring the cake over here. It has a great still. And if MC will allow me, we'll invite an hour later all the great fellows to come and join us as we cut this cake. It has a picture of each of the great fellow. We try to make sure we incorporate everyone.
Fellows, let's get to
Thank you so much.